This video is for educational and entertainment use only. The views in this video do not necessarily represent the views or life of Marlon Dixon.
Welcome back to the Duffle LO Sit Down. And like I said, we're still talking about the COVID-19 different strands, the new one that I end up learning about. But I ended the last one with alpha. This one just about a quick little video that I want to show you guys. Let me share my screen so I show you guys what we're going to talk about. We're going to just talk about the closure of Chicago schools and what ended up happening. So here's the article right here. Let me move myself down. Oh, what you doing? There we go. Move myself down. And that's it right there. That's the article. Name of the article. Classes canceled as Chicago teachers vote to defy in-person learning order. So union respond to the COVID surge, opted to stay home until January 18th. So now in Chicago, the city end up saying that is an order to do in-person learning. But Chicago teachers vote to defy that in-person learning because the cases are ramping up. So let's go. This kid's leaving school right here. As you guys see today, 5:57 a.m. So this is they updated 6:43 p.m. It's 7:18 p.m. right now, and today is January 5th, 2022. Chicago Public Schools closed Wednesday, today, after the teachers union defied the city's order to report to classrooms, prompting flashback to last year's battles and leaving parents scrambling to find last-minute childcare. So you know it's crazy in the big city like that, where everybody think that they going to school, they get ready to drop the kids off of school so they go to work. Come to find out, ain't no school because the teachers decided that they ain't going to school. You know it was crazy. The city of Chicago called off school after Chicago Teachers Union voted overwhelmingly Tuesday night to stay home. So the parents ain't even know about this stuff. They learned about this in the morning. Insisted on a return to remote learning during a winter surge in coronavirus infections. The teachers want to be safe too. So they want to go back to remote learning. So I want to go ahead and plug this real quick right now. Like what I've been working on behind the scenes is an actual teaching class to where I get on here and I teach my children and I teach my nieces and my nephews and I show them things that they wouldn't learn in school. So I'm going to create another channel on the side of that. So for your adults that like what you see here and you see this stuff and you want your kids to learn similar stuff like this, but in their own age group and they learn, but to make them understand and get this stuff, I need you guys to go ahead and go over there to that channel. That's going to be I'm gonna name it Professor Lowe, Professor Lowe's class. That's what that's gonna be called. But we're gonna get the kids right. Definitely gonna get the kids right. So I just want to plug that I have an associate's in accounting, I have a bachelor's in psychology, also I have a master's in criminal justice, and I'm working right now in law school. I'm in my first year. I'm a 1L. So I have what I need to teach the kids, and I'm gonna teach the kids. The only thing that we control is whether we go into the buildings. Jesse Sharkey, the union president, said Wednesday, right now going into schools puts us at risk, puts students and families at risk, and contracting the coronavirus. They not taking no chances. He said teachers would not come back before January 18th unless the surge in cases subsides or the union reaches an agreement with the city, chiefly on additional virus testing. So they want these kids tested every day, or they not going back into the school to January 18th because they want that surge to go down. It's the winter now. So you know the flu going up, and we just said the flu Rona. So it's like, hey, it's getting crazy out here. The union's chief demand was for an effective coronavirus testing program for students, a process that has gone far more smoothly in other cities. In Chicago, the district encouraged students to take coronavirus tests near the end of the winter break, but thousands of those tests were deemed invalid. The union's step marked a sharp clash with the White House, where President Biden has repeatedly said he wants schools to be open. We know that our kids can be safe when in school, he said Tuesday, and our kids, they're children. Always got to understand that kids is baby cows that drink cow milk. Understand that. His education secretary, Miguel Cardona, has repeatedly said the same, and press secretary Jen Psaki repeated the message Wednesday when asked about Chicago. So everybody's saying they want these kids in school. We all know kids carry the most germs. They got snotty nose, dirty hands. They don't ever wash their hands. You know, they kids is nasty. We know that because they don't understand. But their bodies and their immune systems are so much stronger because they're so younger, and their bodies is little and it works faster. So they can potentially go home with some crazy infections, viruses, and give it to their elderly. the grandparents, the parents, the aunties, the uncles, even their younger siblings who immune system that's not even like made up yet. The babies is 2 months, 3 months and stuff. So it's a good idea that those teachers stood up for themselves and said, hey, we ain't going to school. The Chicago's group's action also represented a departure from its own parent union, American Federation of Teachers. AFT President Randy Weingarten has been delivering a message that schools needs to be open for months, and a high-profile action by one of her biggest locals undercut that message. Look at Fauci right there. Watch out, Fauci. We got it right for the most of this current school year, she said Wednesday in a neutral message. Now the adults must work together and double down to get it right as we confront this surge. And let me explain this to you. If most of these kids is at home and they go on online learning, we all know when you at home online, you can't pay attention and sit right here. And you got to understand, like which one of the class I could tell you about. I taught the kids already. It's called blue light. The sun gives off natural blue light, but these technology phones and all this stuff, it gets off artificial blue light that it makes you believe that it's light outside when it's not light outside. So now when kids sitting while it's real light outside, but they in the house on this all day, they get saggy eyes and it messes with them. You send your kids over there, once they pop out, you'll understand. But they don't need to be at home on these computers all day, basically. Politically, the showdown was perilous for Democrats, who are already blamed by many voters for school closing last year. So see, since they was already blamed for it last year, now they want to try to, turn it around and say, no, we're gonna let the schools be open. But you got the Omicron, the Alpha, the Delta, you got this new thing coming out, Corona still, like it's too much running outside. Plus the flu and it's flu season, like that's very risky. In the run-up to this year's election, Republicans have been working to pin school chaos on the Democrats and closing schools for what could be an extended period in the country's third largest district could feed that line of attack. What is happening in Chicago with all the school closures is devastating. Now, this was so crazy. Now they talking about the schools closing, right? Former President Donald Trump said in the statement, they talk about the school closures, but what they ain't talking about when they talk about the school closures because of this this virus that's around is making the schools close. They not talking about how 1,500 schools in Chicago closed in the last 5-6 years. I ain't talking about closed for the day. I'm talking about they closed finito. They ain't opening back up. They ain't talking about them school closures. Keep that in mind. Look that up. He said Democrats were sowing divisions while our kids sit at home watching their futures vanish. Children sit at home, and they really doing it because they not so focused when they on this computer, because they can always go on this computer and be in class, but then they can be playing the games on the side. And then they at home, they in their bed, they laying down, they not engaged like they should be engaged. So it's like they not really learning. So that's why I did what I did, and I'm gonna create that YouTube channel and send your kids over there. They're gonna learn from Professor Lowe. Tracking by the data from Burbio found 3,461 schools were not offering in-person school on Wednesday, including 653 in Chicago, a total that has risen over the past few days, but still represents a fraction of nearly 100,000 K-12 schools in the country. The vast majority of school districts have remained open, even with the Omicron surge. Also, they saying they in there. School systems in Cleveland, Atlanta, and Newark have switched to virtual learning. Not my kids in one of them, so they definitely on virtual. But the vast majority of schools open Monday or plan to reopen this week. In most cases, where closures are needed, districts are moving individual schools to virtual education while keeping the rest of the district in person. Burbio tracking shows the closures are concentrated in the upper Midwest and Northeast. Now, let me explain this to you. The kids are learning online and they at home. So if they learn online and they at home and they not able to pay attention, shouldn't parents really be homeschooling since they already being homeschooled? Because they at home and they at school. So technically they getting homeschooled, although you ain't the one that's teaching them. It's the teacher that's at home schooling them while the kids is at home. The children is at home. Let me fix that. It's crazy. Even when open, many districts were scrambling, often with teacher shortages that were already acute before the recent surge forced merged teachers out of the classroom, either because they were sick or caring for sick children. So you see the teachers, you see that? That's how you gotta catch this stuff. You see that? Often with teacher shortages that were already acute before the recent surge forced more teachers out of the classroom, either because they were sick or caring for sick children. So the teacher has children, but kids go to school. Y'all better catch what they be saying. In San Francisco on Wednesday, there were 693 requests for substitutes, including 414 by classroom teachers. Look at that 693. Then where will you see 693 at? Oh, we're seeing 653. It was close. Including 442. Just 164 were covered by substitutes. Administrators tried to fill the gaps, including Superintendent Vincent Matthews, who covered a middle school science class. As with Chicago Union United Educators of San Francisco, which represents school teachers and paraprofessionals, was pushing for more coronavirus testing in schools. But unlike Chicago, the union president, Cassandra Curl, said there was no discussion trying to force school to go virtual. We haven't had the conversation in a very long time, she said. Michael Milgrew, president of United Federation of Teachers, which represents about 120,000 employees in New York City schools, had pushed newly inaugurated Mayor Eric Adams to switch to remote learning, but went along with a full return this week after assurances that the city would deal with any problem that came up. Now, any problem that came up, you understand that it's sickness going on. You understand that these viruses out here mutating and all this stuff is going on. A lot of people's out here scared. And y'all still sending these kids to school. I don't know. I don't know how to answer, but I'm just saying, I'm going off the facts. Y'all sending kids to school, knowing all this stuff out here. Y'all know kids carry all type of germs, and then y'all know they touch everything and they put everything in their mouth, and they always want to touch people in their face. I'm just saying. Milgrew said he was particularly concerned that staff shortages will lead to huge combined classes, which he said Wednesday that Adams had kept his word to quickly deploy administrators to fill gaps where they appear. Look at Fauci. Stop popping. Going on, Fauci. So now listen to this. The healthcare system has shortages. The teachers have shortages. The parents still need to go to work. What are we gonna do with the children? If the children are the future, what children are being taught? They scrambling trying to, do I learn? Do I not learn? So now they putting their future very in thin air, really. So he proved me wrong in terms of redeployment. I've never seen them move so fast. He said, teachers are telling me I'm anxious, I'm fearful, I have my doubts, but it's real simple. If my kids are here, I want to be here. See how they keep the teachers study saying that they children are at home, but they kids are in school. They know how they're using these words. In Chicago, the relationship between the teachers union and the city political leadership has long been far more toxic. So a toxic relationship between the teachers and the political leadership. Come on, man. Chicago is that. You wonder why Chicago is so dangerous. Like, shout out Ty Money. If you made it to this part, TY Money United Center. Ty Money, I sent you all the views, bro. Because that song and that video should have had way more views than it got right now. So I hope you get it to 1 million and you wonder why the numbers went up. And everybody tell him that you go listen to that song. Tell him Duffle LO to sit down and sent you that. Because that's a good song. He tell you about what really goes on in Chicago. Like for those that ain't never been to Chicago, he let you know what really goes on in Chicago in that song. Late Tuesday, close to 90% of Chicago Teachers Union House of Delegates voted in favor of shifting to remote learning. They doing this stuff late night. Like a lot of this political stuff happen late night while everybody sleep. You wake up as a whole nother world that you're not even ready for. You getting ready for something that you think you're getting ready for. Then when you get there, it's something else. Because ain't nobody call you at 2 o'clock in the morning and tell you, hey, yeah, we just voted on this. Along with more than 70% of its members, the union said in the statement, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot responded angrily. I have to tell you, it feels like Groundhog Day that we are here again at this hour after everything that we've got through. She added, nobody signs up for being a homeschooler at the last minute. Tuesday's vote by Chicago teachers is the result of a months-long fight between city officials and teacher union, which has repeatedly expressed concerns about conducting in-person class while infections spread at schools. Last week, the union proposed requiring negative tests from employees and students as a condition for returning to class. Chicago's daily cases average were above 4,000 in the last week of 2021, rendering the renter surge the city's worst during the pandemic. Chicago's previous record surge came last winter when daily averages went above 2,000. Hospitalizations have also been on the rise in recent weeks, according to city figures. So people in Chicago are getting shot. People in Chicago get COVID. People in Chicago, like, it's the lifestyle. Like, you have to understand, and this is why I can plug this book in, because my book is not about the viruses. My book tell you about stress. If you understand that when you under so much stress, like we are in Chicago, because I'm a Chicagoan, although I live in Iowa now, The city is so stressful. There's so much stimulation. There's so much going on. Gunshots, drugs, prostitution, all this wild stuff, gang banging, everybody ops and everybody backdooring it. It's a lot going on. So that's a stressful environment. When you're under so much stress, you're more likely to be sleep deprived. When you're more likely to be sleep deprived, you're more likely to be stressed because they're bi-directional. Stress, sleep deprivation, stress. So they keep playing on each other and they go up, go up, go up. When you have both of those inside of you that's going on in your life, it's easier for you to get sick. That's what I have a book on. So what does stress and sleep deprivation, and what does stress and sleep deprivation does to the mind and the body, how it affects the mind and the body. That's real. So I'm gonna end that right there. I hope you guys learned something. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below. Go to Time Money, listen to the song, tell them Duffle LO to sit down, sent you, shout out to him. Shout out to all the healthcare workers out there. Shout out to all the teachers out there. Shout out to all the teachers that really care for the children in the world, that's really trying to teach them. We all in this thing right now. We all in this together. We all trying to figure out what's going on. There's a lot, and we all need to help one another and be there for each other and love each other. So if anybody told you they love you today, at the end of this, I'm gonna let you know I love you. So thanks for making it to the end of the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video where we talk about stress, and we're gonna talk about how to calm ourselves down. So I'll see you guys in the next video.
This video is for educational and entertainment use only. The views in this video do not necessarily represent the views or life of Marlon Dixon.